Welcome to Cutting Stems. Guys,
Norman!
did you guys know that that's the music that plays?
No, I was just thinking, like, it's breaking news.
Felt like we were like royalty arriving.
I felt like we were about to do some kind of special news report.
Exactly.
That is what it
Look
is.
at Norm. Oh, hi, baby.
What's up, dude? You seem more calm, Norm.
Norman just winked.
Noah said right before we started that this is the biggest proof anybody's gotten in a while that Norman's alive.
There he is. He's thriving. Guys, we're virtual. Hello, everyone. Shout out to Edible. No strawberries for us tonight, but want to remind you all that there is never a bad time to eat chocolate covered strawberries.
Never.
You don't need a holiday for it. You don't need a special occasion. It's nice for special occasions, but you really can do it anytime you want at edible.com. You can order and you get it straight to your door. It's that easy. It's that easy. Guys, how are we doing? I actually want to start with Trent because it's been a while since we've talked to Trent, and it has been a week since the cut luggage scene.
Yes.
I just want to know how you're feeling, if you've had time to digest. What are your thoughts now 1 week later? Maybe you've settled into your emotions a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm not as raging furious as I was. No, I will say, and it has been a week, and I was excited about the Easter egg, like we talked about on the podcast and Cutting Stems. Blink and you'll miss it. Fran said it right. It was really fast. And then, they put the clip out the next day. I'm glad people got to see it. Like I had told you guys, I don't know if I had said it on air anywhere, but I had said that it's like if they put it in or if they release it at some point, it's going to be a lot of screen time for me. And that's what it was. Like they walking down the hallway, walking around, the whole deal. I don't know. I don't totally understand now after seeing it why it was cut. I don't want to start a freaking and go crazy, but it doesn't seem like it would have been that out of place if they had cut it. Like I was under the impression that the exit for Genevieve was going to be super emotional, like to the point where they were like, all right, we can't make light of this in any sort of way. Didn't really come off that way. But like I said, I'm glad they put it out. The clip, a lot of people watch the clip. A lot of people like the clip. So in a weird way, it doesn't matter. But then in a totally different way, it definitely matters. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not mad about it, but I don't think it needed to be cut necessarily.
Yeah, the clip was fantastic. I mean, Trent, you had lines. Like it was just an unbelievable amount of TV time.
It was emotion. It was a motion picture.
The way
it was just shockingly long.
Honestly, they didn't even have to put that entire thing in there. It was like 2 minutes long, but they could have left a little chunk of it. Like that's what confused me the most. And I think that, and I said this on the podcast, standalone, the clip did look a little bit like a sketch on SNL, but I think that's because it was a standalone clip. I think if it was in the episode, it would have fit right in there. Like, I don't think her exit was as emotional as advertised. I think that it would have fit right in, and I think everyone would have been talking about it the same way they were talking about it the next day, and so be it. We move on.
Absolutely. All right, guys, what? Hometowns. Let's get into it. We had some great hometown dates. I'm not gonna lie.
We did.
I went into this. I think we all went in a little skeptical on how these were gonna go, but start to finish, everybody had a pretty successful hometown, which makes sense on why this decision is getting harder and harder for Clayton. He just loves everyone so much. But Susie had the first date. They did some jujitsu. They met the family, the relationship with her dad. What were our thoughts on Susie's hometown? Kelly, do you want to start?
Sure. I think that Susie's hometown and Susie being the first one to have this hometown, it was already going to be tough to beat. It was first they did jujitsu, a little leg up for Susie, looking cool, got to beat up Clayton. Like that whole thing was really fun. And I think that usually when we do hometowns, they try to bring them on or bring them somewhere or do something that they do in their hometown. It's usually always like a bar or a restaurant or like see their friends or whatever. I thought this was interesting. Like this is something that she does for real. This is a part of her life. She's bringing them in on some of her interests. Thought that was great. And I think her family is impossible to beat. I think that they are so sweet. She speaks so highly of her father, which is like, I was crying. Like that was just a really sweet moment for her to be like, you've set the bar so high. How do I possibly find someone that can live up to the expectations I have because of how wonderful of a man you've been to my mother. 10 out of 10 hometown, really.
I agree. It was a great hometown. And also, outside of Susie's hometown, I really think they've done something different with the editing this entire season. Like, there's just little parts that I feel like they just like hired a new guy or something. And I'm not saying that as someone who was recently left on the cutting room floor.
There's management over there or something. I don't know.
They must have brought in a new guy.
Yeah.
Really but there have been times throughout this whole season where like Clayton will just appear somewhere. And then we'll be like, well, I don't know how he got there. Like, and the thing tonight during Susie's date was she started out being like, hey, we're going to the jiu-jitsu gym. We'll see if Clayton likes to get choked. And then at the end of the day, she went, and now we get to see if Clayton likes to get choked. It's like they made her do it twice and they put him over there. It's like, what's happening? I thought I was like having a stroke. I didn't know if she had said it once or twice. But I echo all the things that Kelly said. Like, just a really, really great hometown day. And her dad is a delight.
Yeah, I think starting off with that hometown date was tough for the rest of the hometown dates, obviously, because they all had to live up to that one. And also, Trent, I saw you quoted somebody who wrote this, that the whole trailer made it look like everybody was going to hate Clayton. Oh. And of course, that just never happens. They
Right.
always try to make it seem like, oh, the big tough dads are coming in, and that just never happens.
They're great at taking a throwaway comment like, I can't think of her name now. Who's got the cool grandpa?
Gabby.
Jeez. Gabby's grandpa, not to jump too far ahead, like says a throwaway line sarcastically, and they use that in the trailer. They're great at that. They do it every time.
Yep.
Right. It was like, we can get into Gabby's date now. It was Grandpa John saying, he's full of shit. Like, it's like,
right.
Yeah.
But Grandpa had jokes. He was joking from start to finish. He was a very funny guy. As only a grandpa can. He was like calling Gabby a dingbat. It's just like such a grandpa word. Like, it was great. They had a great date. Gabby, they're in Denver, so they did the whole hiking thing. They're joking about the bears. They're laughing. Gabby is really so funny. I know Trent, you tweeted it as well. Like, the only times I have actually a genuine laugh, it feels like, on this season has been some kind of comment from Gabby. Like, even the moment when she was like, okay, pretend I'm a bear. Like, what are you going to do? And she had those gloves on. She just went like this.
Yeah. He's like, whoa.
Just that alone was very funny.
Right. She's like just actually naturally funny. Just the way she talks and the way she does things. I don't know if Clayton's going to end up with Gabby, but I'm rooting for Gabby the most just because I really like her the most. Again, I don't know, and this is something we can talk about it like in a larger sense, but like, I don't know which one of these girls Clayton actually likes. I know he likes Rachel.
All of them, Trent.
Yeah, he's in love with them all.
He's in love with all of them, Trent.
I believe that.
I totally do. I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I watch these dates, and I like all of these girls, all four of them are great and they've got great families, but like, Clayton to me just kind of seems like he's very much in Bachelor mode where he knows he's the Bachelor. And I feel like with past seasons, that wears away at this point and it gets like very intense and very real. And with Clayton, I still feel with at least like 3 out of the 4 girls that he's still playing the Bachelor. I don't know if that makes sense.
Trent, I'm actually so with you on that because I think that Clayton is very good at adapting to the circumstances. So like, he's kind of different with each of these girls. Like, we see different pieces of his personality. And I think specifically with Gabby, he's very silly, like comfortable, lighthearted, fun, whatever. So it seems like, oh yeah, he like loves this girl, he's involved with her or whatever, but then he doesn't quite, I think, have the passion with Gabby like he does with like Rachel, who he just he can't like stop sucking her face off. Like, it's, it's like he's a different person with each of them, while equally good with all of them. Just, I'm not quite sure who's Clayton at this point, right?
That's right.
I think I feel it the most with Rachel, probably.
Yeah.
I
a sexual
felt that way the past few episodes.
For sure. Yeah.
And especially this one, I think.
Yeah. And I do think towards the end you saw Clayton be like, oh shit, like now I can let myself fall in love now. Like, and the way he was talking to Rachel's dad and like talking about the process and like being the Bachelor and all these things. I think in his head, and something clicked, like, this is the end, and now I can like actually fall in love with all of them. I don't know. It's or tell them all that he's in love. It seems like it's gonna be pretty crazy, but
he also still doesn't quite, and this has been his thing all season, doesn't quite know how to react to certain situations. Like when Gabby's dad showed up and surprised her and did the signs, which was all very nice, and he was waiting on the front porch, and when she came back to him, he said, that was exciting. It's like, I don't know if that's the emotion.
She's like sobbing. He's like, wow, what an exciting moment. It's
Tears.
like she can't even breathe. She's crying so hard. Like, I
She
guess
has a puddle under her feet from tears, and he's like, that's pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah, like an "Are you okay?" probably would have worked there.
Yeah, or maybe just like a wow, what a moment. Like, how are you feeling? Like, I feel like he just states feelings. He doesn't really uncover them or elaborate with them. He just kind of says what comes to his mind and then moves on. I think that with these girls, I'm already like moved on from Serene. We can talk about her, but I from the minute they went to their hometown, I thought it was good, but it just was nothing compared to Susie and Gabby. And then obviously the connection he has with Rachel, I feel like it was kind of clear that she was gonna go home at the end of this. But I feel like Susie is a good middle ground as far as like comfortability, passion, whatever you want. Like, I feel like he's on one end of the spectrum with Rachel, over here with Gabby, and Susie's like kind of in the middle. So if I were to guess, I would think Susie's kind of the front runner.
That does make a lot of sense. I think that it definitely makes sense as far as like where his feelings are. But yeah, he does have some moments. I think, I forget who it was also. I think it might have been Gabby again talking about her dad just like not being able to be there, and him being like, that must be hard for you to deal with that happening. Like sometimes it just feels like the words start coming out and he's not quite sure what the words are that he's saying.
And I don't want to pile on Clayton, but at one point, it sounds like we are now, but he was talking to one of the dads, I think, and he said, yeah, I don't want to raise any yellow flags. And it was like, that's okay. I mean, it's a football metaphor, but it's also not the color most people use.
Not fully red. It's just see like caution.
There's nothing. There's nothing that Clayton and Jesse Palmer love more than those football puns.
They love them. They love them so much. I have a question for you guys. What do you think? What do you think Clayton's relationship with his parents is like? Because that maybe has something to do with all this. Because I know, like, I have a good relationship with my parents, but I don't have we joke around a lot. I don't have I'm not going to cry over like what a good guy my dad is. Like, my dad's a good guy, but I'm not crying over it. Like, maybe he just doesn't know how to react to like such close knit families. Like, I get a little weird about that around like a family who's so in love with each other. And I'm just kind of like, ooh, sick. Like, what's that?
Or being able to like really open up to your
parents.
Like,
excuse me? Like, I've never...
Like, of course you talk with your parents, but like when I'm watching these hometowns and I'm watching the women like say to their dads, like, dad, like I'm so in love with him. And I'm like, I want to be able to talk like that with my dad, but I just don't know if it's going to come out of my mouth.
Same. I feel the exact same.
I don't think I've ever said anything like that to my dad. And I've been in a relationship for way longer than the people.
I am endlessly surprised at the way that these people can talk that way and have there be cameras there. Like, it's one thing to have those conversations every once in a while with your parents when it's just when there aren't network cameras there.
Yeah, when you work up the courage.
Well, it's true bravery in my opinion. And the moment between Roland and Serene was fucking awesome. Like, it was a really nice moment with Roland just being like, I've seen you hurt. I don't want you to get hurt again. I trust you. You trust like unconditionally. And I'm worried, but I think you're going to do the right thing. That's beautiful. And the fact that they were able to say those things with those cameras there is incredibly impressive.
Weirdly enough, I feel like the cameras might help because the parents are looking, they're like, well, we can't say anything crazy because the cameras are here. So like the people talking, the daughters or the sons, when it's the Bachelor, Bachelorette, are probably like, oh, this is my chance to really open up because I could say whatever. Norman, they can say whatever they want, and they kind of have to be respectful in some way because there's cameras around.
Right. And the cameras are there. So everybody's kind of, I'm not saying that they're putting on a show, but there's cameras. You're gonna
and they're like, this is my
show with the
chance.
cameras.
My chance to open up. Finally, I can open up because these cameras are gonna have my back.
Completely.
I think that's true.
So maybe that's Clayton's deal. Maybe he's not so like, maybe he's not like Mr. Family, and so maybe that's why it's kind of all over the place.
Definitely. So we did jump into Serene's hometown. They did like this obstacle course type thing, rope course, bungee jump. Oh, Norman, he's so pretty.
He's so cute.
You already said his name.
Look at his little ears. Norman. Hey, Norm. Hi, sweet.
Kelly has the sweetest voice.
No, oh, look at that tail. Look at that tail.
I would snuggle Norm so hard right now. Oh my God, look at him.
Norm, are you excited? Is someone being a cutie?
Now he's just giving. He's just giving side profile.
So handsome.
They're on this ropes course, and what is making me laugh is like obviously Clayton was not having the best time, I guess you would say. Like he was nervous. He didn't love what was happening, and he pulled out like one of the most classic big guy tweets about this. I don't know if you saw it, Trent. You're gonna love this. He said, yeah, I was freaked out on the obstacle course with Serene. I'm 260, and the only safety mechanism stopping me from falling to my death was a plastic horseshoe overhead. Someone get a pic of it so I can plead my case. And then another one. Also, for the 80-foot jump, I didn't see the cable to attach to it first. I thought the producers were legitimately going to make this the most dramatic season ever by making me free fall. I did sign a waiver before. It's just like the Clayton. You're okay. The double tweet explaining this part of the date, like nobody thought it was that weird. You're a little scared of heights.
I would argue that being scared of heights is the most common thing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Normal.
It's like he was really scared, though. I will say.
I love like I'm 260. You should have seen what was holding me.
He's huge. I've been saying it all season. He's huge.
He's so huge. When he was on the date with Rachel and they were like, canoeing through that lagoon, whatever the hell that was, when they like popped off at the kissing tree to make out and then they like stripped their clothes off. I tweeted a video of that part. Clayton has never looked bigger. Like he's like the Hulk. And I was like, oh my God.
there are angles where it is insane. And one of those was also when Rachel was joking about
him jumping into her arms.
Yeah, about him jumping into her arms. And that angle of him jumping, like he looked ginormous.
You guys see that trend on TikTok lately? It's like the Shrek dancing.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Over the top of the city.
Yes. Oh my God.
I love those videos. Love them. Every time I laugh. Every time.
There will never be anything. There will never be anything that comes close to the freaking Clayton mean tweets.
No, that was so mean. I think about every time I talk about how like huge Clayton is, I think about those tweets and I feel a little guilty because I'm like, all right, everybody's piling on, like, yeah, he's big, whatever. But it's true, like he's just so big and tall, like he's just enormous, especially compared to these tiny girls. Kind of going off of that, what do you guys think about when he was doing the funny like bear thing with Gabby and he like she's like, attack me like I'm a bear, and he attacks her, like picks her up, puts her over, whatever. What do you guys think about getting picked up off the ground? I just like unannounced picked up.
I'll be honest, I hate it every time.
I hate it. They always do it. Someone's always getting picked up. And I thought like maybe Clayton's just so much bigger. Like maybe it's not so crazy to like get picked up by that. But I just feel like I would hate it.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference in like being picked up and just like lifted off the ground. Yeah. There's another when you're like thrown over someone's shoulders.
Yeah, I hate that.
Like that's where you're like, okay, I'm upside down. My stomach hurts now. Like this is If you're just kind of like, if you're lifting me up and carrying me, yeah, go ahead.
Like a little like spin around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like that's
like,
all right.
But if you're like grabbing me by my,
let's go.
Grabbing me by my
like
knees.
Santa.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if I'm hanging off your back, I don't want to be there.
Oh no, that is the worst. That is literally the worst.
That's not something I encounter on a regular basis, I will say. I've never been thrown over someone's shoulder on a date like, woohoo! Doesn't happen to your boy.
Oh man, it's a funny thought. That is a funny thought.
Just me
Trent's
over
like,
some
put
girl's
me down,
shoulder.
put me down.
Yeah. I might like it because it doesn't happen to me all that often. So.
Yeah.
Trent has to find like the female Clayton for that. Like then she'll
Yes.
pick you up. Be like, I'm taking you home, baby.
No,
Let's
and
go.
Extremely tall woman. No. That you think can pick up Trent, let us know because
He
we need to
needs
make
like
that happen.
he needs like what's her name from Game of Thrones?
Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
I feel like you need a woman named Helga.
Straight up. Yep.
Definitely.
Mhm.
The last dates, and also the last part with Serene was she's like been the most open. She's like, I'm not dropping the L word, love, I'm in love. So I don't know if that like ended up kind of biting her in the ass because maybe it made Clayton think like, oh, she's in love and I'm like not in love. So I don't know, that might have been a part of it. But then Rachel had the last date, like you said, they were in they were kayaking in that clear boat and they were afraid of the elements. That also made me laugh because I just feel like ABC, I feel like they pumped fake like rainforest noise
Yeah.
into the background.
For sure they did.
It wasn't really that loud. It was so loud.
No, it
Bro,
was too
and fucking crazy to show that spider. I don't know who else here is like afraid of
But
spiders.
it's also like the way they cut to that could have been fake footage.
I think it was.
Like, you
I
know
think
what I'm saying? Like they just
Like
all of a
stock
sudden they just
footage.
cut to a zoomed in spider. Like
Whoa.
they didn't have a camera ready to go for that spider when they were on that boat.
It's the same deal as whenever we're in the fantasy suites and they start showing clips of birds and bees. Like it's the
Yeah.
same vibe. They've got spider B-roll, you know?
Right, totally. Spider B-roll. Rachel is scared. She's preparing Clayton to meet Tony, her dad. He says, she says he's a tough guy. She doesn't bring a lot of guys around. They go home. You can immediately sense the Italian. There's nothing more Italian than having the first letter of your last name like outside your home. Like there's a big ass R on your front door.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, this is their house. I
Yep.
forget what I forget what Rachel. I forget.
I
what
don't
her
know.
name
I don't know
is.
her last name.
But it's something Italian. And Tony is, not fucking around. This guy,
Big tone.
he played it very serious. When he got to talk to Clayton, he asked all the tough questions. But at the end of the day, he's still a big softy who just loves his daughter and wants her to be happy. And when Rachel gave him the seal of approval, Clayton got the pat on the arm.
Wow.
I mean, the fact that nobody saw this coming. They're like, oh, Tony's so scary. It's like, this is the most stereotypical classic Italian father. It's like, my dad is so scary, so macho. He probably works in the mafia. But realistically, like, he's going to cry when his daughter says she loves him.
I'm pretty sure, and I almost tweeted this, but I thought I was being stupid. I'm pretty sure when she came in and she sat down and the friends were being like, Rachel, you're glowing. Like, you look amazing. Her dad was like wiping his eyes. I'm pretty sure he was crying. Like, I'm pretty sure he was just crying in that moment. Like, I want to go back and look at it. He straight up was like, he was red face. Like, he was holding it in. He's got tears and he did one of these, like a,
yeah.
You know, you can tell I'm pissed off that I'm showing emotion. Like that's how it was. And I was like,
even talking,
I know he's not sweating.
When he was talking to Clayton, like he wasn't really, pressuring him that hard. He was being like a normal dad.
Reasonable question
on The Bachelor.
Reasonable question.
Yeah, I actually thought the conversation between the two of them was like the most we've gotten to see how Clayton actually feels about being on the show. He was dancing with women, super not fun. As people might think it's fun, but it's not. And he's like, I know I'm going to end up hurting 3 women, and that's not what I want to do, but that's just kind of what the deal that we signed here. So it's like, the conversation wasn't as like, felt like he had a gun to his head or anything. It felt like we got more out of Clayton than we've gotten all season. And I actually thought that was, shout out to Big Tone for pulling that out of Clayton.
Yeah. Also, big shouts to Clayton. I feel like he kept it consistent with the parents in not saying, I'm in love with your daughter, or can I marry your daughter if it comes time? Like, I feel like that the Bachelor and Bachelorettes always kind of make that mistake, like thinking that that's what they want to hear. Yeah. But then if it doesn't end up that way, that's like another family on the list of people that don't like you. You know what I mean?
That's
Like you
smart.
have to manage the expectations. And I think for once, like Clayton got it right, and he was managing the expectations. In the
I
right
think,
way.
I think I would fall into that trap for sure. Because you feel like in that moment, you just like there were times tonight when I was like, just say it, Clayton. Like it'll make this moment easier. But you're right. It then sets a precedent for when you do end up hurting 3 people. It's like it hurts just that much more. So he was smart to manage the expectations. But man, every time I feel like I'd fold.
I don't think he necessarily managed the expectations with the girls very well, though, especially Serene. I feel like Serene is pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely seems surprised, and I think that's pretty warranted. So, Rhea, do you want to gear up some questions while
I can't. I'm on my phone.
Oh, you're on your phone, Kelly.
Oh, I got it. I'm in the seat. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
What I was going to say before was that it was interesting. Do they always go back to LA for like they were back in the mansion?
I was surprised to see the mansion.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Where did
And
they
also,
go?
Jesse Palmer, he's doing a good job, but like Clayton being like, I'm falling in love with all these girls. He's like, you are what?
Please. Somewhere poor Ben Higgins is like digging himself his own grave because when Ben Higgins was in love with a couple of girls, they ran him out of town. Clayton's spouting off about how he's in love with everybody, and nobody says shit. And I'll always bring that up every time that there's a bachelor or bachelorette that says I love you to everyone. I will always bring up Ben Higgins, who literally was like hung in the village square for saying he loved more than one person.
First time to do it. Yeah, that was like, I mean, in front page news, if I remember correctly.
It certainly was.
That was massive. Never been done before. Now we got 4, and he's like, yeah, I love all of them.
At some point, somebody's going to show up the first night and be like, I love all of you.
Yeah.
I'm in love with every single one of you.
Completely.
All right, Kelly, what we got?
We have a couple rolling in. This one I love. Would you send yourself home if you were the only girl Clayton did not sleep with? Yes. Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's tough. That preview too. Also, that's another thing. Everybody gets so pissed about that. It's like, it's fantasy suites. That's the whole point. Like if he's telling you I love you to your face, like that's tough. But do you really think that he's just going to abstain all around? I don't know. I'm torn about how I feel about that.
There was the one soundbite, and I don't know who was saying it, but she was saying that she was like, oh, sorry that I want my future wife not to sleep with somebody else while we're together. And it's like, that's not this reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's like a demand. I don't know if she was a demand necessarily, but like it gets kind of lost in that. Like Madison from, who was the Bachelor on that? Peter, Pilot Pete. Like she set an ultimatum and was like, you can't sleep with any of the other women or this isn't going to work out. But you can't, that is almost more fine than going to fantasy suites, him sleeping with someone else, and then you saying like, you can't sleep with anybody else. That to me doesn't work out really.
Right. Yeah. I guess we'll see what the sequence of events is.
Yeah.
Because if he's like actually out loud telling all these girls like I'm in love with you, then I can very much understand them being like, okay, so you're in love with all of us and gonna sleep with all of us. I think it just discredits.
Yeah, right.
You know, like every girl's gonna be like, how in love with me really are you? Like you're so I don't know.
Yeah, I also feel like, and this is just trying to think of it from his perspective, is like maybe he feels a strong connection with, I think it's going to be Susie and Rachel. He feels a really strong connection with both of them. And the one thing that he's like, all right, what's the one thing left? It's like the sexual chemistry. And if he does it with one of them, is he forever going to think in his head, what was it going to be like with that person? And then that's something that's going to fuck up your relationship going forward, always thinking what could have been with that person. So if he just does it with both of them, gets it both out of the way, then he at least knows.
Yeah. I'm kind of on that same vibe. Do we think that
one of them is 100% Rachel?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do we think that anyone will send themselves home next week after hearing this? Like, do we think that he'll reveal that the sleeping situation and somebody's going to send themselves home? Or do you think that they'll wait to see who he sends home?
I think they'll wait.
I think they'll wait as well.
I think so also. And that's just from thinking of like the footage that we've seen of that moment with those 2 roses and the girls. So I would think that, yes.
I'm torn about that too, because I feel like if we're going to see this big like crying montage on the stairs, it's like, are they all going to be crying, or is anybody going to be around to accept a rose? Like they're all in tears.
Yeah.
So who's doing what?
I think one of these women is a lock to be the Bachelorette, right? Like,
yeah,
I think so.
Like whoever, it could be Gabby, it could be Rachel, or it could be Susie.
Yeah.
I think probably whoever ends up in 3rd. I think whoever gets sent home next week probably has the best bet, because sometimes it's hard to argue like timeline wise. Yeah. Although I guess not, because it's not like we're going right into another season of The Bachelorette. There's more time.
Yeah.
So,
you have a runner up.
Yeah, like they're. I think like because we're not gonna get immediately another Bachelorette season. I don't think so. That'll be huge.
Yeah, that will be huge. Oh, people are mad that we haven't mentioned Gabby's dad. So we should mention that real quick.
Oh, I mean, we did kind of mention that.
I thought that we talked about that. People are saying that all over.
Yeah, we said, and we talked about Clayton's reaction.
Yeah, this was the best. Gabby's hometown date was maybe the most emotional I've gotten on a hometown date in a long time. Like actually watching, like between their grandpa and the sign. I mean, the Love Actually thing is very, very cute. I'm not quite sure why they like needed to do it that way. I guess, yelling from across the yard doesn't work. So
yeah,
we got the signs, which was a very nice touch. Like it was very, very sweet.
Gabby's grandpa talking about not taking his ring off. Come on. Like,
I mean, that was unbelievable. That's what got me, was the keeping on to the ring. Like, if you're married to me and we're old and I die, you better keep that fucking ring on. I'll tell you what, I am not the bitch that's like, live the rest of your years and like enjoy your life, find someone new. No, mourn me until you die. That's all. That's it.
I gotta look at my Nano's hand next time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just realizing I haven't.
Oh, please. No way. He's trying to pick up biddies in Florida.
I know he's quite active.
Yeah.
I gotta take a look.
Let's we'll do one more little deep question. Do we think that Clayton leaves happy?
I think he leaves in what he thinks is happiness. I don't know if he's happy right now.
I don't think he's happy right now at all. Well, somebody was tweeting about, maybe Mills. I forget who said something like, it might have even been like Mike Fleiss. The show's not over yet. Like there are no spoilers. The show's not ended or whatever.
It's not spoiled because nobody knows what happened.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like depending on who, was that Fleiss or was that Robert Mills?
Yeah, it was Fleiss.
Okay. Well then never mind. I take everything he says with a grain of salt. Like I don't know what he's talking about half the time.
I think Clayton is currently bracing for the reaction to him sleeping with 2 of the women. Like I don't know. I think he thinks.
Is it really that big of a deal?
No, I don't know, but we don't know how it's going to play out.
Hannah Brown slept with both Peter and Jed.
Yeah. And Tyler, no?
Not Tyler.
Tyler was the only one.
Yeah, that's right.
Not Tyler.
Pray for Tyler. That's tough. I don't know. I think that
it always depends on the person and how, everyone has different values. Everyone has different values, and opinions when it comes to sex. Like for these girls, it just might be more of a deal breaker than for other contestants that are on the show.
No. Yeah. I think it's fair for the contestants to feel however they want about it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the fan crowd reaction to him doing it is you can't pick and choose who we get mad at for doing that.
Right.
Exactly. Well, it goes back to what Trent literally just said. This is the nature of the show. This is the kind of show that it is. Like, I don't think I would ever walk into a show like this and think I've got it in the bag until somebody's on their knees. You know what I mean? Like, I think that you have to assume if there are girls that are in the same, at the same running as I am in the fantasy suites, he's probably going to have sex with them. Like someone in the chat was said something like, you wouldn't buy a car without testing it. I don't love that analogy, but it does apply.
You guys tried it.
I do think I think he gets into tricky territory if it plays out the way Fran presented it, though. If he is saying how much he loves all these girls and then just ends up sleeping with them, I'm not saying I'm going to be like, bah, but there is going to be a certain percentage of people who are going to be like, what the fuck you doing, dude? Like, that's not
like, it'll be kind of hilarious just from an entertainment standpoint if he goes on like, I'm in love with you, Susie. They have sex. I'm in love with you, Rachel. They have sex. I'm in love with you, Gabby.
Yeah.
He like knows that he has said it to every single one of them, but just like as visually as we watch it. But that is normally how this goes when it gets to this point. So
Remember
we will see next week.
Remember when Ari left Becca?
Oh, fuck. What a brutal thing that was. And then you mean when he came back and asked for the ring back? When he came back and got the ring back? That moment replays on my head constantly. Like it's something to fear.
Isn't it
like
kind of crazy that like actually like worked for him though?
Yeah, like he made the right move.
I know.
And so people are happy for them now, but it was just crazy in the moment.
I follow Lauren and Ari on Instagram. They are the happiest people.
Yeah.
Right.
They like fucking live in Hawaii. Like, it's
right.
No, good for them. I'm happy for them. He followed his heart. He was like, wait a second, I made the wrong move.
No, but,
but
I remember that was the one time when I was like, I don't know if those cameras should be in that house. Like that, they were just they just like set the cameras like on the couch or something, and we just watched Becca cry for like 20 minutes. And I was like,
cry and then hand back the ring. Like I'll never forget the handing back of the ring. Also, Lauren's got brown hair now. I saw.
Yeah,
she does.
Totally new look. I didn't even recognize her. Somebody tweeted at me. I was like, "Who's that?" I don't even recognize her.
Lauren. Okay, let's cut some stems.
Okay.
Give out some roses. I think we all probably have some similar ones. I'm gonna go with Maria to go first because
I'm gonna give my rose to Big Tone.
Yeah,
for obvious reasons. Yep. And I'm gonna cut the stem of the trailer up for next week because I really don't know how much I can take talking about this. It's not about the shrimp. It's just a copy of It's Not About the Pasta with Vanderpump Rules. And I don't like it.
It's annoying.
Trent?
I wrote them down. 1 second. Somebody's going to give the first rose I had written down, so I'm going to let somebody else have that one. I'm going to give my rose to Roland. I really liked Roland. I thought he was great. I thought him and Serene were great. I thought he just seemed like a really nice guy, had really good advice. So, hey, maybe he could be part of the franchise at some point if he wanted to. I'd be down for that. And then I'm cutting Clayton's stem for sure. I like the guy. He seems really nice, but he just doesn't necessarily know what he's doing. And that's a hard thing to critique because being the Bachelor seems fucking impossible. But he's having a tough time navigating these waters. I think it's going to get worse probably.
Yeah, he's having a tough time. I'm going to give my rose to Rachel's friend who was in the house and the one that was like, "You're glowing. I've never seen you so happy," whatever. I loved him because he was just like a supportive friend. You know what I mean? Like you need a supportive friend. You need someone to come in and he knew that she was coming in here feeling nervous to be around her family with Clayton, feeling nervous with the whole situation. He just came in and was like, "Girl, you are glowing. Like, don't worry about it. You seem happy." Like, it's nice to see good friends. So I appreciate that. And then I'm going to cut the stem of the that like Heights ropes course state thing. Again, getting silly. Should have taken a note out of Susie's book where it does something cool. Like, what did that have to do with Serene?
Yeah, that started the vibes off bad.
Yeah, I didn't like
that. Okay, so obviously I'm going to give my rose to Grandpa John. That would be an insult if I did it. I'm assuming that's what Trent was saving. 100% between, him and Gabby's dad, but he was just the freaking cutest. He laughed at that joke about the pillow joke, and it was just you got a grandma that can laugh about a joke like that, you're in good shape. And then I will be cutting the stem of Jesse Palmer tonight. I thought he tried a little bit too hard.
Scandal.
I think I'm a fan. I think he's doing a good job, but like that felt like some false shock we were getting from him tonight. He had a little bit too much of his anchor reaction and not like the host of The Bachelor reaction. It was like more of like, oh, what? Like it didn't work.
It felt like it almost felt like a second take.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't enough, do it again. And he overdid it on the second time.
Yeah. You know what I also really don't like is when they do the preview, when they double up on nights and they do the fantasy suite trailer first and then the women tell all. So it looks like that's Monday and Tuesday. It's actually women tell all Monday, fantasy suites Tuesday. I tweeted at Mills to make sure that.
All right.
And he says women tell all is Monday, fantasy suites is Tuesday, which means I think we're just going to have to do Cutting Stems Tuesday night, folks. I think we're going to be one night next week. It'll be Tuesday. We'll combine the 2 nights and we'll see what happens. So we'll be back next Tuesday. Any parting thoughts, gang?
Who do you guys think is going to win?
Rachel.
I'm going to go Susie. I feel like I don't know, something about it. Unless she freaks out about the sex thing, I think Susie. Unless
Rachel and Clayton's sex is not what they are, really building up to, perhaps, but the chemistry those two are having feels pretty intense. I don't know how I don't think Clayton's gonna fight that one off.
True.
Okay, guys, I think that wraps it up, and we will be back for Cutting Stems next Tuesday. After 2 nights, because it's just torture. The women tell all is I hate the women tell all. I hate the women tell all. I hate the men tell all.
It could be okay this time around. Maybe if Shanae comes and lights a fire, I don't know.
Ooh, apparently they all shit on her because all the girls all the girls partied in a club this weekend, and the club brought out a sign that said "Fuck Shanae."
That's amazing. I didn't see that.
Yeah, Genevieve had to apologize because she put it on her Instagram story.
I mean, that's incredible. I can't believe she had to apologize for that. That's so insane. Because honestly, after that, that's what I was just about to say is I am looking forward to Women Tell All a little bit because now all these girls have seen Shanae in the background being like, I'm just starting trouble to start trouble. So it's going to be a big pile up.
It does not need to be more than 1 hour.
No.
And every time it is too long. So we'll see what happens. But okay, we're rambling now. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be back on Tuesday.